Breaks? Who needs breaks during decluttering sessions? Whenever somebody asks me how I work, one of my answers is that my work involves a lot of cups of tea. And there are good reasons for that. For one thing, when you shift a lot of stuff, that is quite a physical activity. You'd think, okay, knickknacks don't really weigh all that much, but there can be an awful lot of them, and you have to move them from one place to another. When it comes to things like clothes, you have to pick all the clothes hangers off the rails and carry them somewhere else in a fairly awkward fashion, so your body physically gets tired. You also don't want to just drag them across the floor, but you have to lift them up. Plus, some clothes can be quite heavy. And then think of books, of cooking pots, of boxes of stuff that are sitting somewhere. All of this is physical work, and it requires the occasional break. And it requires more breaks than you would think at first sight. The second thing that brings up a need for a break is emotional fatigue. Whenever you're dealing with stuff that has been sitting in a household for a long time, there will always come a moment when you come across something that has an emotional response. The last postcard that your dad sent you before he passed away, or a little knick-knack that brings up a sad or a happy memory. All of those can interrupt the flow, and they require a step back and taking a moment to absorb the emotion, or in the case of a bad reaction, I usually bring my clients to the kitchen. I take hold of the item, I put it to the side, and we find an emotional balance again so we can continue the work and revisit that item at a time that feels more suitable than in the middle of a project. And then thirdly, there is mental fatigue. What does that mean? Where does it come from? Well, if you place yourself in the situation of the person who needs to make a lot of decisions about every single thing they come across during a session, you can imagine that it takes a lot of mental capacity and mental focus to look at one thing and decide yes, no, or maybe, put it to the side, pick up the next one, and just keep going. It's a long process because you have to look at every single thing and you have to take a decision for every single one of them. Of course, that is a draining experience and it needs the occasional step back and a break. How do I deal with these three types of fatigue? Physical, mental, and emotional. For one thing, when I work with clients, I usually turn on an alarm clock for 45 or 50 minutes. And at that time, we will always take a break for the sake of being able to continue in an organized fashion. We could go on for a couple of hours, but then we'd break down. If we stop after a given period of time and sit down for 10 minutes, have a sip of water, maybe a biscuit or a cup of tea, and then go back, we will be refreshed and we will be fit to physically, mentally, and emotionally start again with the work. That doesn't take away that the odd, unexpected break will come up whenever there's an emotional issue. But apart from those, I try to make it into organized chunks of time and organized breaks that come up at regular intervals. It has worked for me so far, and my clients usually respond well to this. So if you are in the process of decluttering your home, I would advise to work with a timer and give yourself time slots. If you're working on your own, I would even say go as short as 30 minutes. And you'll see that at the end of your project, it will not feel as draining as if you were going for a couple of hours without a break. Keep that in mind. Stay clutter aware and come back for more. If you want more, there are options. Click the round logo to subscribe to this channel or select the playlist in the middle to see more content or check out the links in the description below. Oh, and feel free to like this video.